Yesterday, the last U.S. military planes departed Afghanistan, marking a chaotic exit from the United States' longest war. Thousands of people have been evacuated from the capital city of Kabul, but thousands remain behind, unsure of their future under Taliban rule. I spoke to one Rochester man who is on a mission to get his family out of Afghanistan safely. Even though the situation is incredibly turbulent, he remains hopeful.
Seeing it falling apart and seeing it falling to the Taliban, it's very heartbreaking.
Rochester man Mossy grew up in Afghanistan, and his family is still traumatized by the Taliban's rule 20 years ago.
There was no freedom of anything. You had to, in order to survive, you had to follow the rules.
The Taliban have been saying that they're going to rule more moderately. Do you believe that?
That's something that it's very hard to believe it. That's very hard to trust.
Because the Taliban have shown no signs of change in the past 20 years, Mossy's family and other Afghans remain apprehensive.
It's very common every day for people to get whipped by them. It's very common for, women have been banned from school and from work. And these are some small examples since August 15th.
Mossy explains, although the United States' 20-year military presence in Afghanistan was imperfect, it also gave the Afghan people many opportunities and freedoms that are now threatened.
The best word to express how they feel is imprisoned. Because when you get out of a free and democratic country and go to the regime of Taliban, it's not comparable at all. It's an absolute downgrade.
Leaving was never a part of Mossy's family's plan because they believed they could make a positive impact in the country. But now, getting out of Kabul is the safest option.
It's very close and dear to my heart. But there's a time, unfortunately, that I think leaving the country is best, especially when it comes to protecting something which is more dear and sweet to you, which is your rights and freedoms and liberties.
But also the most challenging one. Mossy has been contacting people at all levels of the American government and various organizations. But in this complicated and turbulent situation, many hands are tied.
There are embassies in Kabul, and all countries stopped their commercial flights, all countries closed their borders, so that made it harder and harder. But I'm optimistic and hopeful, and I'm not giving up until they're out.
Mossy is hopeful that America and other parts of the world won't abandon Afghanistan.
There's a saying that hope is the last thing that dies, and we have a similar saying back home. And I think without hope, there's no meaning to life.
Mossy tells me there are things individual Americans can do to help young Afghan people who he says have been robbed of their potential for the past 20 years. For example, mental health professionals can offer services, and people working in secondary schools and higher education can offer scholarships for Afghan students to study in America.